Welcome to Car Sales Talk 101, where it's all about life in the car business. Telling you like it is. Here's the man with the plan, Terry Cameron. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Car Sales Talk 101. I'm Terry Cameron. Before we get started with this week's episode, I want to remind you that you can reach me at 10-Minute Sales Talk at hot.rr.com. You can find me on Facebook, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. Also, if you can hop on over to Apple Podcast or whatever platform you listen to and give me that review and that rating, I really would appreciate it, as I do appreciate the advice that I'm getting already. This week we're going to talk about numbers, pretty much statistics. And that's what I am. I'm a statistics person. I believe that people lie, numbers don't. We all know that customers spend about 90% of their time, or should I say that 90% of our customers spend hours researching the vehicle that they're coming to purchase and the dealership they're coming to purchase it from. So they come to the lot. First thing we do is screw it up by shortcutting. We got to remember, they've done all this research. When they get to the lot, to your showroom, we have to start at the beginning. So even when your internet customer visits the showroom, if we don't start at the beginning, this is where we lose our sales. We cannot skip the steps. It's amazing how much your relationship with your customer determines the sale. So let's get started. The first number I want to talk about is 72. 72% of customers tell their salesperson they're just looking at the initial greeting. Now, I know this is a fact. This is usually a reflex response to the question many, if not most, people ask at the initial meet and greet. And that's, how can I help you? We all do it. If we bounce this off the fact that 78% of every customer that visits your showroom purchases a car, and 90% of them do it in less than a week, we have to know that they're not just looking. Think about the last time you stepped into a store looking at a high-ticket item. Did you tell the salesperson you were just looking? I mean, who window shops anymore when they can do it online? When they show up to your store, they're there to buy, and you need to buy into that fact. You know, as a matter of fact, I just experienced this at our local Best Buy store. I was asked, how can I help you? And naturally, I responded with just looking. And the thing is, I really was just looking. I went there to kill some time with my wife and daughter until the store next door opened. I looked enough, salesperson asked enough questions, and eventually I walked out of there with a new computer. Yeah, I'm a laydown, but I don't mind rolling over and exposing my belly for a good sales pitch. How about this one? 71% of customers say they bought the vehicle because they liked, trusted, and respected their salesperson. Whenever I notice a salesperson losing customers early on in the sales process, or what we call burning ups, almost every time it has something to do with the relationship, or should I say the inability to build a relationship. Usually the greeting was canned or sounded just like the store they visited last week or last year. We have to agree that the days of selling cars to people by pushing them around and pressuring them into a sale are gone. You don't have to like the person behind the counter selling you a Snickers bar or a lottery ticket. But would you buy a car or any other high-ticket item from a rude, crude salesperson? I doubt it. My suggestion would be to sharpen your rapport-building skills, at least to where you sound sincere, whether you are or not. We've seen the trend in car buyers change over the years, and likability and transparency goes a long way in the decision of not only what to purchase, but whom they purchase it from. We'll dig a little bit deeper on this subject in a future episode. This next number I just want to touch on just a little bit. That's 85. 85% of customers say their salesperson did not control the sales process. They did not build any rapport or interview the customer. I really don't know how you can do a good presentation, or anything else for that matter, if you're not taking control of the sales process. And I don't mean by grabbing them by the collar and pulling them around. I'm talking about asking them questions, find out their dominant buying motives, their hot buttons, what's important to them, so you can elaborate on those during your presentation. 88% of customers also said that they received a lousy presentation and demonstration. Come on, really? The customer spent several hours researching your product and felt confident enough that this is the one they want, to the point that they showed up on your lot. Now it's showtime. Time to give the presentation the $40,000 vehicle deserves. I remember many years ago being pitched on a Kirby vacuum cleaner. Elvis was the salesperson. I think it was just over $1,000, and it really didn't have many features with it, especially when you compare it to the average car or truck today. But Elvis gave me and my wife a presentation like his life depended on it, and we bought it on the spot. Did I get what I paid for? Well, probably not. But at the time, I thought $1,000 was fair, considering all this vacuum did, which was basically just suck up dirt. About 10, 12 years ago, I was out looking for a riding mower that I could get through my gate so I could mow the front backyard with it. Yeah, a riding mower. My backyard's got a hill on it. I'm not lazy. I just don't like pushing mowers up and down hills. I had to find one that would fit through my gate. Now, the only mower I could find was a rear engine mower with a rectangular steering wheel, 2 speeds, forward and backward. Basically, it was a rail with 4 wheels, a blade, and nothing more. But when I went to see it, the salesperson there, he was an older gentleman, he put it on me. I mean, the presentation he gave me on this basic piece of machinery was off the chain. When I left there, I knew every loop point and bearing that required greasing. And I was sure I got just what I needed. When I got home and after offloading it from my truck and all those extra accessories I purchased, the first thing my wife mentioned was how much more it cost than the John Deere we looked at earlier. Yep, I got full popped, but I still own that mower, and I can count how many times I lubed and greased it on no hands. Now, somebody that does this for a living like me can be mesmerized by a great presentation and demonstration. How hard should it be for the average consumer? Wow. Now, this leads me to the next statistic. 50% of customers said they bought on the spot when they got what they felt was a good presentation. Now, imagine having about 10 opportunities every week to sell a car. In other words, you talk to 10 people on the showroom floor or your lot about purchasing a vehicle, and you gave all 10 of those a good presentation demonstration. That's 5 sales a week. Enough said. You need to know your product inside and out. You have to understand that your customer does. I read that customers are concerned with about 20% of the features on the car. And all you have to do is know 100% of that 20%. And you have to have the skills to describe it and present it in a fashion that gets the customer involved. If you want to increase your sales instantly, take heed, hit the books, and role play. Role play the presentation till you can do it in your sleep. 93% of customers did not get a service walk as part of the sales process. Today's customers purchase more than the car. They're also buying you and your dealership. And if you have a good service department like mine, you're leaving sales and gross on the table by bypassing the service walk. Rarely does a salesperson do a service walk or introduction before the sale, if they do one at all. Transparency, honesty, and ease of doing business at the time of the sale and after, that means more to customers today than it ever did. Do not shortcut this part of the process. Here's a really good one, and this is sad. 82% of customers cannot remember the salesperson's name 1 year after their purchase. I'm always asking potential customers and even potential salespeople where they purchased their last car from, and I would say probably somewhere around 100% of them can answer that question. But when I ask them the name of their salesperson that sold it to them, it's amazing how many of them cannot remember his or her name. Now, this tells me that most salespeople treat selling cars more of a job than a career. I mean, people are going to continue buying cars, and if you're going to stay in the business, don't you think you have a better chance of selling them a second, third car, not to mention their friends and family members' cars also? Well, good luck doing that if they can't remember your name. I see it damn near every day. Customers walk in the showroom, buy a car while the salesperson that sold them the previous car sits and watches it happen and then cries skate and wants half of the deal. It doesn't take much of time for a manager to look up the history of the customer in the CRM and see that there hasn't been any contact or even an attempt to contact in months, if not years. Besides, if you didn't leave a good enough impression with the customer to where they can at least remember your name, how can you expect them to ask for you? And if you did, well, even on your day off, you'd have a chance to be gifted a split. There's a few more statistics we're going to cover, but I'm going to save those for some future episodes. The point I want to make is, regardless how your customer gets to the lot, you still have to start at the beginning and follow that process. Without processes, you have chaos. Customers appreciate a process also. They don't want to be bounced around the lot through the process. They know what they came to buy. You just have to help them buy it. Be a professional. If we do these things, we'll sell lots of cars, we'll make lots of money, and we'll have lots of fun. That's what we're here for in the first place. Remember, the sky's the limit. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please rate it and write a review on Apple Podcast. We appreciate your valuable feedback. You can email Terry at 10minutesalestalk@hot.rr.com. And don't forget to share the show with a friend.